Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here. And today's video is going to be my top 10 picks from my collection for spooky season. These are going to be ones that I have been gravitating toward this past week and ones that I'm going to be wearing here today and tomorrow. It's October 30th, so tomorrow is going to be Halloween. And these are the ones that I feel either have a thematic marketing presentation or some kind of set profile that's dark and brooding. So I'm going to start right away with the two cheapies, and then the rest of them are going to be a little bit more artisanal and niche. This first one here, Philipp Plein's No Limits. So the skull was part of the inspiration for this pick here. I think the skeleton appeal in the marketing does a really great job, but I also think the scent profile here, perfumed by Alberto Marias, is really great, dark and brooding. It has this really nice dark chocolatey leather vibe going on. There's a little bit of a freshness to balance everything out, and although it comes off a little bit synthetic in terms of the quality ingredients, as it begins to blossom on your skin, I think it becomes a really beautiful dark cheapy fragrance. You can usually find these for the under $50 price range. This is the 50 ml bottle. I feel like the tacky sort of credit card presentation is a little bit more palatable in the smaller bottle size, but this is going to be one of my top picks for the Halloween season. Next up, the other cheapie is one of my favorite fragrances, point blank period. As you can tell by the dent in here, this is Anre Noir à l'extrême. Now, the regular Anre Noir could be a great pick here. I felt like it might be a little bit redundant with another fragrance that's going to be coming up in this list here, but you get a really nice, almost autumnal fire sensation from this, like burning leaves in some type of bonfire. There's this inky quality in here from the vetiver cypress combination that kind of gives off almost, I like to describe Anre Noir à l'extrême with its more warm resinous quality as the pages of a burning book. So you do get this burnt papery feel, as well as this very resinous, semi-sweet, smoky quality going on with that inky touch. One of my favorite cheapies for the autumn season, and I think a great pick for Halloween. Especially the juice color and bottle really kind of come together for that orange and black aesthetic. Next one on the list here, this is going to be, I think, maybe one of the next most affordable. This is Fougere Gothique from Barrister and Mann. They're a shaving company, and this is a really nice, dark, earthy Fougere fragrance. It's very unique. It has this slight ashy quality to it as well, like cigarette ash mixed in with a very clean, fresh, soapy, lavender-centric shaving foam. The earthy quality in here is pretty dominant in the opening, but it kind of begins to dry down into this very serious, mature, sort of darker Fougere fragrance. Very unique, and I'm really glad to have this one in my collection as a lover of the genre. I wore this one the other day. We did a lot of spooky season activities, did to a pumpkin patch as well as Spirit Halloween to pick out the kids' costumes, and this was my companion for that day. And like I said, just being a fan of the Fougere genre, I really gravitated towards rocking this one, especially this time of the year in October. So Fougere Gothique is another one that's definitely worth checking out. But I will preface that it's very polarized, and that earthy tone is a little bit overwhelming for some people. Same thing with this fragrance here. This is Olympic Orchid's Night Flyer. So this is actually perfumed by the originator perfumer for Zoologist Bat. This is the original formulation for Zoologist Bat. Hence the, it says here, the original on the sticker. And again, this one has that very divisive opening earthy smell. Smells very much like some fermented figs and bananas, somewhat accenting a underground cave sensation. Reminds me a little bit of if you've ever been to a zoo, if you're going downward into the place where they have aquariums and reptiles and even sometimes bats. This kind of gives you that scent profile of that cave, but it's balanced out and made a more palatable scent profile by the fruity accords in here. I personally think this is a great fragrance. The performance could be a little bit better, but really a great little node to the spooky season with its presentation and scent profile, I think. Next one, kind of in that same ballpark of the bat, this one moving into the vampire appeal with its marketing. This is Vanille Rum from Lorenza Pazzaglia, and first fragrance I've picked up from this house, probably won't be the last. I'm pretty impressed with the quality here. This reminds me a lot of just a pure extrait vanilla. It has this cold, cool quality and this like vodka almost-esque tone to it in terms of the like cold sensation that it has. There's a really nice patchouli in here that comes off very green and fresh, but the rest of the composition emanates a very dark quality about it. And like I said, it reminds me with this slight alcoholic boozy quality of pure vanilla extrait. It also begins to dry down into something a bit resembling of Mancera Red Tobacco, but this is a much more polished, well put together, and well blended scent than that, in my opinion. Really great one if you're going for the sort of chocolatey scent profile for the candy aspect of Halloween. Moving into another candy aspect of Halloween fragrance, I don't think you're going to be able to find this one, but it's going to be a top pick from my collection. This is Salem Gothic from DS and Durga. So they have these studio juices that they release as limited runs every so often. This was one that they did, I think, either last year or 2 years ago. They do have one currently out that is supposed to be inspired by Beetlejuice. It's called Spectral Gateway, I believe. Different scent profiles. I hear that this one's similar to their Steamed Rainbow, and I could see that as it smells a lot like a foggy landscape. So you do get this wet sensation. There's violet leaf is the main note in here, I would say, but there's also this feeling of pixie dust in the air, like ground up candy necklaces or Smarties. There's that kind of sensation alongside of a damp, foggy profile. Very unique fragrance, definitely somewhat novelty-esque. I don't see this that wearable outside of the spooky season, but it's a great one in my arsenal for this time of the year, and I love the marketing aesthetic of it. Next one, this is another one that kind of veers into a spooky marketing aesthetic, but I think the scent profile is actually very wearable for the autumn in general. One of my favorites for the month of September. This is Grimoire from Antoine Lebreton, and this is kind of like a mixture of Rochas, Eau de Rochas, and something like Bentley for Men Absolute. There's this very papery, papyrusy-esque heart to this fragrance. It just definitely smells like the pages of a book, hence the Grimoire, which is supposed to be a magic spell book. But there's this also very prominent, realistic, and appetizing citrus note that dominates the rest of the fragrance, and it just comes together into something that reminds me of a bright sunny day walking down a rural Midwestern gravel road with a little bit of dust kicking up in the air. Very easygoing fragrance, and one of my favorites for the warmer autumn season days, but fits well into this spooky season aesthetic. Next one, this is very niche. I definitely do not recommend blind buying. Check it out in sample form first, but it is a Cecile Zarokian creation. That's the perfumer who brought this one together, and this is Baba Yaga. This is the parfum or eau de parfum version. There is a black bottle version that's an eau de toilette, which I haven't smelled, but this comes into the same ballpark as something Lalique pour un écus. It definitely has this hayride in a bottle. It has this sort of very appealing autumn season cold air mixed in with hay, corn mazes, just all of these sort of harvest season festivities. Maybe not purely spooky season, although the Baba Yaga namesake is from a type of Hansel and Gretel witch who eats children in the forest. This is what this is appealing to. I think the bottle is supposed to kind of represent a tree in said forest. And like I said, it just goes into this very harvest-esque scent profile. I don't really have another way to describe it better than that. It just reminds me of being on a hayride or a corn maze, or just doing things in this dry, vegetal atmosphere during this time of the year. And although it's, again, I think a little bit of a novelty fragrance similar to the Salem Gothic, it's something that I particularly enjoy during this time of the year, and I'm actually wearing currently while filming this video. So that's Baba Yaga from Suleko, perfumed by Cecile Zarokian. Next one, another artisanal fragrance. I think you can only get this in the States off of Etsy from a independent perfumer. This is Lovesick Witchery's Hocus Pocus, and this might be my top pick if I were to rank this entire list. This is very much like a you go into these confection stands during this time of the year, like at the pumpkin patch we went to, there was a little concession stand where they had, you know, pumpkin spice lattes and cinnamon dusted donuts, and there's a little bit of that pumpkin smell in the air alongside of the real pumpkins they were selling at the stand. So the overall ingredients in this, they have listed on the bottle. It's like lemongrass, or lemon, grapefruit, clementine, baked goods, which is like the main thing here. It reminds me of those autumnal concession stands, Nag Champa incense, and myrrh. So it's very beautiful fragrance. It's very pricey. I think this was $50 for a 15 ml. But comparatively, if you're looking for a price value proposition, this is comparable to Nasamato fragrances, where you're getting 30 mls for around $130. So I think this is worth it, definitely. The only drawback is because it is an artisanal brand, they're order on demand. So you place the order, they manufacture the juice and then ship it out. So it took me a little while to pick this one up, and I think during the spooky season it's probably going to be an even longer wait because of higher demand. But really beautiful stuff. Got turned on to this one by Quick Fragrance Reviews. Check their channel out. I will link it in the description below. And the next one is going to be, or last one actually, Gucci's A Midnight Stroll. So I believe there's a Middle Eastern clone of this one, and I would probably recommend checking that out. I haven't smelled it myself, but I know my brother Goldie Smellgood said it's close enough. And I think this is a little bit overpriced for what it is. I got it for like $180 on Joma Shop, but it's really hard to come by for less than that, and I think it's still overpriced at that point. But the scent profile is very beautiful, if a little bit simplistic. It kind of veers into that same direction as the original Anre Noir. There is this smoky, green, cypressy kind of direction that it's taking, but it amps up the smoke quite a bit more, to the point where you're getting some of that almost bacon type smell that you get off of some fragrances like A City on Fire by Imaginary Authors. But the green aromatic side of the cypress is sort of overshadowing everything else, so it gives it this very nice mysterious atmosphere, like being in a dark wood. It definitely captures that midnight stroll in the autumn leaves sort of vibe. A little bit of a religious scent profile with the way that the smoke and the incense comes together as well, so you get some of that spirit realm kind of aesthetic to some degree. But I think the Middle Eastern clone of this one, I forgot what it's named, but you can usually find that for like $30. But get your nose on this one if you can, test it out in store or get a sample. I think this is a great dark fragrance for the whole spooky season. And that was my top 10 picks from my collection. Let me know what you're going to be wearing out through the remainder of this holiday season and moving into the Christmas and Thanksgiving wardrobes here coming up in the next few weeks. So as always, I really appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.